welcome. Here we are, episode number 303 of episodes of this Fandom Podcast Network show, looking at, of course, 1980s films and much, much more. Of course, we're talking about The Long Riders, which is, without a doubt, one of the greats. I'm your host, Adam O'Brien, and today we're going to be looking at Walter Hill's Jesse James film. This is not just about Jesse James himself, it's also about the Youngers and, of course, the other families that are involved in this huge outlaw fraternity, if you like, back in the post-Civil War times. Jesse James is obviously a character that's had a multiple amount of great films out there. Even after this one, there's a heap of different films like American Outlaws, which came out, and the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, which was done with Brad Pitt and many others. A bit more of a art house film in comparison to this one, and some interesting, roles in that one as well. But I do believe Long Riders is the definitive take, and in 1980 it came out and it knocked this sort of stuff on its head. It really is an amazing film. The Long Riders itself, one I saw on TV back in the 1980s, and ever since I've really had an affinity for this movie, which no doubt spurned on an influence to films in the 1980s like Young Guns and many others, not just Young Guns, but many more. And of course, with that, we're going to get into it today and really have a look at what makes this film fantastic. Let's get into it.
All right, lights, camera, action. Now where's the mullet? Where is he? He's coming in by chopper again.
And now, live from Quinlan's Cantina in the Gold Coast of Australia, it's time again for your dose of action cinema history from the 80s, 90s, and beyond with the Lethal Mullet Podcast. Oh, g'day, mate. How you going? And welcome, folks, to the one, the only Lethal Mullet Podcast. I'm your host, Adam O'Brien, here for episode number 303. Just like the rifle, folks. Lee Enfield. Just like they say in Breaking Moran. We stick to the rule, 303. Well, we do here too for this episode, folks. Although it's not set in the Boer War, or the Boer War. This is The Long Riders. It is a fantastic Western. One that's got quite a big history, one that, is cast with a series of brothers. It really is fantastic. We've got the Quaids in there. We've got the Guests. We've got the Carradines, and we've got the KEACHs as well. And this was really the brainchild of STACY and James KEACH back in its formative times. So that's what we're going to be covering today. I mean, look at the cast itself. It's self-explanatory. Here it is, folks. And the look of the the big duster jackets and obviously the formal attire that they wore back in the Western times, because this is the clothes they had, and yeah, you've got Randy Quaid in this, not playing Cousin Ed. This is like literally him, a bit more serious back here, and is even better than his brother. And yes, Dennis Quaid is in this as well. As I said, it is the brainchild of these two. Quite serious actors at the time. Stacey Keach playing Frank James, and of course Jesse James played by James Keach. Two pretty, famous actors at the time, but also two that really, wanted to bring something together that hadn't been done before. This is well before Walter Hill was involved. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, and a little bit more. And before that, we're going to get a little bit of idea where to contact and find this podcast and many others like it. Check it out.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is...
G'day, man. How you going? Follow the Lethal Mullet here on Fandom Podcast Network's master channel at fpnet.podbean.com, or subscribe on the Podbean app, where you can find all the shows. Blood of Kings, a Highlander podcast. Culture Clash, a weekly look at pop culture. You look at Making Treks, a Star Trek fan podcast. You can also check out The Mullet Guild, a look at the Dune universe from me, the Lethal Mullet. You can also check out This show and all the others like What a Piece of Junk, a Star Wars podcast, Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast, Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast, and much, much more. All on FPN. You can follow on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all podcatchers. Make sure you follow me, The Lethal Mullet, at The Lethal Mullet on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
I always find that one interesting. It sounds like the whole band's playing trombone, saxophone, bass guitar, the classics, just like the Blues Brothers, folks. And we're gonna cover that Blues Brothers sequel down the line. I tell you what. So we're gonna head into the news first up.
Now it's time for the latest action news from the cinema and martial arts movies and more, all here on the Lethal Mullet podcast.
There he goes. All right, here on the news today, we're going to be covering something that is, of course, right at the heart of this whole film, and that is the new release, which you can see there, Wanted, Dead or Alive. This is the new Blu-ray edition of the film. That is, of course, there we are. Beautiful, beautiful. It's got the original Frank and Jesse James wanted poster for the Long Riders, and this is out from Imprint distributors and publishers, whatever you want to call it, and in conjunction with, of course, MGM, Park Circus, and Via Vision. And they've done a fantastic job. These are, really good releases for the most part, and obviously we've got a few of them last year from different films. One of them, which obviously Kevin told us about, and so I had to check it out. But in Australia, these are coming out as both 4K and Blu-ray releases. And this one I got on a Blu-ray, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So as it says, as close to the truth as legends can ever be, the notorious James Younger outlaws must face an awesome enemy who will stop at nothing to see them behind bars or dead. Only through the strength of their loyalty and blood ties can the gang hope to survive. Now, the print itself is absolutely gorgeous. It's been really cleaned up. So you get a 1080p high-definition presentation from the restored 4K master. So as I said, this is on 4K as well. So go and check out the 4K if you've got that. There's an audio commentary. Actually, there's two in this one. So there's audio commentary from film historians Howard S. Berger, Steve Mitchell, and Nathaniel Thompson, which was done in 2023. So this is a couple of years old. This is 3 years old, this release. But we've only just got it out here in Australia, mind you, so new for us. There's also an audio commentary by film historian Toby Rohn in 2023, separate one. I haven't checked out the second commentary yet, but the first one's really informative. Goes into, obviously, the background of the film itself, the actors behind really getting this happening, and then Walter Hill jumping on this pretty much, and then leading into Southern Comfort afterwards. Another one we covered last year of Walter Hill's. Obviously, we're pretty big, massive fans of Walter Hill out here. Now, the second disc is interesting because it breaks up our interview series into the brothers. So you get interviews with Keith Carradine and the late Robert Carradine, which we're going to talk about in a sec, the other bit of news. Interviews with Stacey KEACH and James KEACH as well. Interviews with actors Randy Quaid, Nicholas Guest, and, of course, the director, Walter Hill as well. Now, the cool bit, you also get an interview with the composer Ry Cooder, who has done an amazing job with this soundtrack. It is really feeling of that sort of southerner, western sort of theme, and it really, I think, plays to the strengths of the actual thing itself too. It's really, really good. So you also get an interview with the producer, Tim Zinnemann, which is an interesting one. Zinnemann goes through, again, a lot of the production costs and things behind the scenes, which really interesting. So you get a lot of that too, but also there's some great featurettes in this too. So a featurette called Outlaw Brothers, The Making of the Long Riders documentary, the Northfield, Minnesota Raid, Anatomy of Scene, which is a featurette in itself, and also Slow Motion, Walter Hill on Sam Peckinpah. Now, one of the big things about this film, which we'll talk about as we get into the film a little bit later, it is a huge influence by the likes of Sam Peckinpah. So if you know Sam Peckinpah movies, how bloody and honest they are, and unflinching. with a wry sense of humor to a certain degree. That's what you're getting here, and it's it's a true Western in that sense. So I think it's an interesting one when it comes to that. Now, with that, this release really needs to be seen on the best TV possible. So don't watch it on your phones. Don't watch it on your computer. Actually watch it on a decent TV. It is worth your time. Whatever you're doing out there, this is the one you want, and you definitely want to watch it that way.
Alrighty, mate. Time to go down to the pub for a pint, chat, action, movies and more. Here on the Lethal Mullet Podcast.
All right, welcome to the pub, folks. Here is everyone's grabbing their pints in the background there and having their rum and cokes and all that. We're going to get into this film. Now, The Long Riders has an impressive cast. For 1980, you're looking at David Carradine, obviously hot on the success of the series Kung Fu. We've also got STACY KEACH playing, he plays Cole Younger. STACY KEACH playing Frank James. Robert Carradine playing Cole's younger brother Bob. Dennis Quaid playing Ed Milner. Jim Younger played by, of course, Keith Carradine. Jesse James by, of course, James KEACH. We've also got Anne Stryker as Beth. She's really good in this, actually. And we've got Christopher Guest as Charlie Ford. We've got, this is from Tombstone, folks, of all things. Harry Carey Jr. as George Arthur. Savannah Smith as Z Mims. Pamela Reed as Belle Starr. We've got John Younger played by Kevin Brophy. But James Remar as Sam Starr. Small part of the film, but it's still pretty damn good. We've got Nicholas Guest as Bob Ford. We've got James Whitmore Jr. as Mr. Rixley in this as well. We've also got Chris Mulkey as Vernon Biggs. Again, another one that you don't expect in this film. Of course, he went on to be in both Twin Peaks and First Blood. We've also got Peter Jason rocks up in this as well. Now, it gets even further. We've got Edward Bunker in this as well. We've got Tim Rosovic as Pitts. We've also got John Carradine in the role of this as well. And we've got Alan Graff, as well as we've got Hugh McGraw, Stephen Chambers, Caitlin Keach, the son of James Keach, as well. And we also have Luis Contreras as well in this, who's turned up in a lot of things. He's an American character actor, obviously, but somebody that's in a lot of your 80s and 90s actioners and thrillers as well. So, I mean, again, what a cast. These are, people that have gone on to huge careers afterwards. And also the film itself obviously showcases these brothers, which we're going to go into. And obviously this is, coming from the mind of James Keach and Stacey, who really, at its heart, were basically the power behind all this too. So the film is a 1980 bio-western, directed by Walter Hill, produced by, of course, James and Stacey KEACH and Tim Zinnemann, and has Ry Cooder's soundtrack as well too. Obviously, it is about the James Younger gang. If you're familiar with the story, it pretty much follows the usual bells and whistles of that too. So it's during the years following the Civil War, banks and trains basically become a massive target for the James Younger gang, and we get to see them go through all of the Midwest of the United States and do that too. They're led by Jesse James and Cole Younger, being the heads of those two brothers' family, and as well Ed Milner also is another one that takes place in this. And we really get to see that at the start. The start is a really good Peckinpah style opener where basically Dennis Quaid gets one of the interesting roles here, watching his brother get all hot-headed and being an absolute turkey, basically. And Ed basically is a bit of a firecracker, and he kills the clerk that is trying to help them with the robbery, trying to open up things and get rid of these guys before they start killing people. A shootout happens, and this is where Jesse is wounded. From here, Jesse basically says, Ed, you're not part of the gang anymore. This is where Clell, his brother, stays on, and Randy is actually, although his family in this to Dennis, his brother, he says, you're not part of it anymore, Ed. This is more my family than anything. From here, they've got a detective from the Pinkertons age. and it is Mr. Rixley that does this, and he's assigned to capture the outlaws. So he basically remains on their trail no matter what happens, and part of the way through, they accidentally kill one of the youngers, and it's a younger cousin. I believe in reality it was actually a brother, the youngest of the brothers that they killed, and the youngest of the James brothers also. And from here, they lost several men in the process. The Pinkertons look like absolute dorks, and basically they back off afterwards. Jim Younger, who is sort of the middle brother, I guess you could say, plays it really cool at the start, but also he's trying to sort of keep the youngers, can you say? Keep them from being as hot-headed. And it's an interesting sort of idea that you've got big brothers and little brothers in this, trying to keep all of each other in check. And this is where obviously the Carradines played that quite well. Keith doing that with Robert, the late Robert Carradine, which we'll talk about soon, obviously, about the news regarding Robert sadly passed away. We'll get into that in a sec. We'll just get through the story quickly. Obviously, Clell suggests that James Youngers from them ride in north in September 1876, and they rob a bank after many other, obviously, thievery that they've done, belonging to squareheads, which was a term for people from Europe that were basically migrating to the United States at the time. And these squareheads were in Northfield, Minnesota. And basically from here, what they don't know is the Pinkertons are being in touch with the public in that town and basically have squared them up with a huge amount of ammunition and weaponry and long arms, and are able to basically take on the Jesse James and his gang when they come. So the hold-up goes completely wrong. The bank's vault has been set on a timer, and it can't be opened. There's no matter what they do. So a cashier and other citizen are shot dead. And from here, while trying to escape, the entire town opens up on them. Now, what's great about this is it's kind of like a Wild Bunch scene, and the scene you're seeing here on screen with this is Frank James off to the right-hand side here. And that might be Jesse on the other side there, who hardly gets a scratch. Everyone else gets shot in this sequence, and it's very Wild Bunch. And also, it was an influence, this one in particular, on some of the shooting at the end of Young Guns, where you have the whizzing of the bullets coming past, and then whether it's going through the dusters or vice versa. It was something that had been done in spaghetti westerns as well, but here in particular in an American film, this is really, it was kind of fresh, at least what I saw as fresh at the time. And it's a hell of a shootout because, no matter where they're going, they're getting shot at. Now, what's interesting is this recent interview with Robert Carradine before he passed, where he's actually talking about this Minnesota raid and shootout. And he talks about the horses going through one of the buildings just to get their escape through, and going through candy glass, obviously going through glass that looks real but is fake movie glass. And the fact that he said you can actually eat the glass because it's made out of sugar. From here, the surviving members temporarily make camp in the woods, and Jesse decides to continue running on. And obviously, Frank has to stay with him. The youngers pretty much bow out at this stage. From here, the James return to the Missouri, and the youngers are captured by Rixley and the Pinkertons. But of course, they won't give them up. From here, Bob and Charlie Ford, looking to make a name for themselves, come in and offer their services to Jesse. And they also offer to the Pinkertons to give up Jesse and take him out. Now, at this stage, I think they were just looking to not so much kill Jesse, but bring him in, bring him in itself, live. But we have that famous scene where he's looking up at the picture. He goes, "Oh, look, it's crooked." And he gets up, and then, of course, I'm the man that killed Jesse James. And of course, that's Christopher Guest and his brother as well. And again, people that would go on to be involved in the likes of Spinal Tap and The Princess Bride, a six-fingered man. But anyway, so that's the main story. It's not too much of a story when it gets down to it. It is the life and times of obviously that too. If you want to watch more about Robert Ford, the coward Robert Ford, you can watch obviously Brad Pitt's movie, which is an interesting movie in itself. And again, it's trying to kind of an esoteric sort of Western. It's trying to be more and probably a bit more art house than others. I think this is more your take if you're after that more classic Western when it comes down to it too. Now, before we get into too far, we'll have a bit more look at quickly the cast. Obviously, James and STACY KEACH. I don't know if I'd known too much about the brothers outside of Long Riders before, but this is pretty much the movie I know them from. I've seen Stacey in a number of things over the years, and obviously he's involved in one of the Escape movies. Might be in the second one with Kurt Russell, Escape from LA, I believe. And yeah, he's pretty cool. Always been, he's a bit of a presence. Carradine's obviously David, we know very well. Great films all over the place. Probably Lone Wolf McQuaid is the one I probably like him for the most. Kill Bill series, Kung Fu. He's an interesting guy. He was an actor who, he wasn't really as far as he did action movies, obviously, but he wasn't really, a martial artist as such. He was more of the spirit of martial arts, and he would say that himself in interviews and stuff like that too. But I thought he was, an interesting actor at the time. Played bad guys incredibly well. So he was really good. Keith Carradine is hands down probably the best of the Carradine brothers, apart from Robert. I like Robert as well. But Keith's great for the duelist, right through to Star Trek, and obviously being Wild Bill in Deadwood and many others. I mean, Keith is he's got a real reality to him, even in Cowboy versus Aliens. Opposite, obviously Harrison Ford and Daniel Craig, he's got a presence about him, and he's very American. But the one movie I've always, said is Southern Comfort. That's his spirit down to a max. But you could definitely see him in Highlander after the duelist being, the sort of a through character there. Let's hope he gets picked up for the Highlander sequels that are happening if Henry Cavill's one takes off, because he would be an interesting character, no doubt. I mean, he's just got that sort of been there, done that survivalist sort of look about him, I personally. Now, obviously, we've got Nick Guest, we've just talked about, and Christopher Guest, fantastic as the Ford brothers. Dennis Quaid in this, not quite got his shit together as an actor, and I don't think here. He's playing stroppy Dennis Quaid, which he did well for a number of movies, and then really hit it out with Enemy Mine and The Right Stuff, which he's brilliant in too. Yeah, I mean, he found his way eventually. Randy, fantastic in this, and he really steals a lot of the scenes as well too. We've also got in this, as I said, Robert Carradine, which we're going to quickly have a quick look at now too. Robert was a fantastic actor, and somebody that really, obviously he was known for a bit of the Kung Fu series himself too, playing David's brother in it, but also he played Lewis, obviously Revenge of the Nerds, probably what she's most known for from the 80s. But there's another movie, folks, which I'm going to talk about in a sec. And for modern audiences with the Disney Channel, it's Lizzie McGuire, without a doubt. That's sort of part of it too. So Robert Reed Carradine, born in 1954 in LA, to actress and artist Sonia Sorrell, and John Carradine, the classic character actor. One of many actors in the Carradine family. He's full brothers with Christopher and Keith, and has two paternal half-brothers, Bruce Carradine and David, and a maternal half-brother, Michael Bowen, as well. Yes, so is this the Michael Bowen I've always thought about? Michael Bowen is, if I'm right, yeah, it is. It's Buck, and he likes to, well, you know what he likes to do. And obviously he's in Walking Tall as the cop that gets in The Rock's way, and he's also in Iron Eagle. If you watch it at the start, he was in a number of things. I think he was even in the Ninja series, The Master might have been that one. I mean, it's going back a fair while. Carradine is also the uncle of actress Martha Plimpton as well. So interesting. Obviously, he's very close all the time with Keith before his passing too. So lots of different films. The big one for me that he did was Sam Fuller's Big Red One, alongside obviously Mark Hamill and Lee Marvin. And if you haven't seen the director's cut of that, which has been really well done, they've put special effects on there. All the Foley was given to him by Steven Spielberg's company that did was it Saving Private Ryan, so they could put the Foley of the MG42s and all the weaponry that's been re-recorded. So all that Foley is modern. So if you've seen it on VHS, yeah, it's not up to much scruff when it comes to sound, but the visuals alone, the invasions of Italy and D-Day, which are in that film, it's a real journey. And it's something I watch it once a year. It's without a doubt a really interesting film, and especially some of the things they talk about in it. And it's between Robert, Lee, and Mark. And Mark saying, "Yeah, we're out here, we're murdering people everywhere." And he says, "You know what? In war, we are killing, all right? And the minute war finishes, it becomes murder. That's when we stop." It's pretty much the he's really bringing down almost the political commentary on what that is too. Fantastic. So again, I think Robert was really great with his TV work as well, and he had 3 children. He also had, obviously really interested in cars and stuff like that too. He also was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which can cause swings in emotions, except like that too. Sadly, he passed away on the 23rd of February, 2026. His death was announced by his brother and manager, of course, Keith Carradine. He was 71. And sadly, it was death by suicide. Again, mental health is a real thing out there, folks, and always seek help. There's help out there, without a doubt. And it's sad to hear the passing of Robert, he was really an interesting actor and somebody that always seemed to be, have the right, I think, attitude with film, and trying different things, not just doing the same roles here and there. And that's why he was such an interesting actor, I personally think. And somebody who, particularly with Big Red One, I mean, he's got the voice of the movie. He is literally, it's almost like through his diary, if you like. And it's a really interesting look at World War II and his role in particular. But from all of us, we're saddened to hear the news, and rest in peace. Our thoughts go out to, of course, Keith and the rest of the Carradine family. So we've also got, obviously, James Whitmore Jr. as Mr. Rixley. You might remember him from one episode of Battlestar Galactica. There you go. Harry Carey Jr. in this. That's George Arthur. And we've got Pamela Reed as Bellstar, and Sam Star in this, played, of course, by James Remar. Quite an interesting knife fight, or Bowie fight, you might say. So definitely worth checking out alone just for that. So now we're going to have a look at, of course, a little bit of the background of this film. So we've looked at the cast, looked at the story. So let's have a look at this. The origins of this came back to when James and Stacey Keach played the Wright brothers in a film called The Wright Brothers in 1971. James thought the idea of portraying, obviously, Jesse and Frank would be interesting. So James started off by getting a play about the James brothers. And this is called Brothers, which Stacey financed, produced. And Brothers is a folk opera. The script was credited by Barry Litvak, and Christopher Allport provided the music. James played Jesse, and Marion Killinger played Frank. It was produced by Edmund Bananas Ensemble. They staged it at the Bucks County Playhouse and then toured it through schools, etc., in New Jersey. This came to the Bandit Kings, which was the play that was adapted into a country musical. Bandit Kings performed off-Broadway at the Barry Lane Theatre, and James Keach produced for only $10,000 and directed and starred as Jesse. The Keaches then decided, of course, to turn the musical into a feature film. This is where things get interesting. Obviously, it's a stage play. It's going to have to change. So they rewrote the material into a screenplay. He combined it with the work of Bill Bryden, who had his own Jesse James script as well. Both KEACHs also got involved and basically put all the different threads together. James KEACH was acting opposite Robert Carradine in the film The Hatfields and the McCoys, and mentioned the idea to him. And Carradine suggested he portray the youngers, obviously with his own brothers. And this is where David Carradine said, Bobby and Jim came to me and said, do you want to do this picture? You know, I just thought it was kids talking. But then they said, well, Stacey said he'll do it. And I said, well, Stacey said he'll do it. I'll do it. And they went into Stacey and said, hell, David said he'll do it as well. And Stacey said, well, if he'll do it, I'll do it. Then we worked on Keith, who was a hard sell, but he couldn't very well turn it down if the rest of the Carradines were doing it. So the idea is they got those involved. They also wanted to get Bo and Jeff Bridges as the Fords, but sadly they turned it down. From here, Randy and Dennis Quaid also became attached to the project to play the Miller brothers as well. James later said, everyone told me you can't get these guys together. Family devotion is one thing, but this is Hollywood. We decided to prove how serious we were by having a group picture taken. Did it at midnight in a recording studio where Keith was cutting some numbers. We sent limousines for everyone. It was quite a production. And the biggest thing is it actually happened. You know, they're actually able to get all this together. And I mean, this doesn't happen. You know, I mean, look at the cast. It's right here. Right here. You know, it's a hell of a cast. But the James, a younger gang, finally got pay dirt. And I mean, just look at them. It's truly a testament to the brothers to get that to happen. And that's why Long Riders was just so well put together. So with the Ford brothers originally going to be by both Bo and Jeff. Jeff later said it couldn't do it because of a schedule conflict. And when I first read the script, I thought it was another case of where the material didn't quite match up with the gimmick. So it wasn't quite with it too. And Walter Hill is an extraordinary filmmaker, and he said I think he added a specialist to the script that lacked it. So Joseph Bottoms discussed the project with James KEACH, but wanted himself and his brothers to play the youngers. And eventually, Nicholas and Chris Guest play the Ford brothers as well. So again, it's that whole idea of everyone being involved in it too, which I thought was really interesting. So what's interesting, Walter Hill later argued that the best film that had been done up to that point was the younger James brothers. Prior was the return of Frank James. But when you look at it, this is the most accurate to the story. So some of the film was shot in Parrott, Georgia, where the opening sequence being filmed in Leary, Georgia. The railroad scenes were filmed at Texas State Railroad and the Sierra Railroad in Tuolumne County, California. And from here, obviously, the company originally wanted to shoot in Missouri, but they found that the urban sprawl just blew out of the tub, said their publicist. So they chose places that resembled it from back in the West, basically, from here too. So Stacey KEACH also says the brothers would bond by playing music together every night during the shoot. Says the guest brothers would sit apart from the others because they were playing violins. James KEACH said the film was very authentic, not a traditional Western, but a sagebrush and desert, as was more of a Midwestern feel to it. And that's true. If you look at it, that's very real thing that's there too. With the film budgeted originally at $7.5 million, the KEACHs forfeited their executive producer fees to give back to the movie, and The Long Riders has been made on faith and idealism, said the KEACHs. The soundtrack, performed and written and arranged and composed by Ry Cooder, has that sort of classic element of, I think not only a Walter Hill film sort of feel, but it's an atmospheric Western quality to it that, it brings in all the old instruments, the banjos, the monicas, all the strings and stuff like that too. But it's what was around in the Western times. And that's what makes it so authentic. And so one of the things Cooder later said, this is Ry Cooder, later said that it was the simplest of his soundtracks to do. and adding that I'd heard and played enough old-time Southern music that it wasn't too much of a stretch for me to create it. The film was about community and family, and I had to think what the music would have felt like in those days. I had to capture that early American aesthetic. And you know what's really interesting is that he's done that, and that's really what brings this film to the best point. So what was the response? Well, most of the critics in this give it around about a 6 out of 10. So roughly about a 3.5, 3 out of 5. But us folks, I tell you what, we're going to be a little bit more generous to this amazing movie. Because, of course, at the Fandom Podcast Network, we love our Westerns and we love Walter Hill. And we love when a dream comes true, because this is what happened on this movie. It really did come true on this one. The Long Riders is a long journey. It leads up to, obviously, some great shootouts and some great action, but it's the character moments. It's the brothers moments. It's the family bonding. It's everything. And it's the little characters on the side. This film, it's a 5 out of 5 on the Hallenbach scale here on Lethal Mullet Podcast. I hope you do check it out. Check out our show notes. You will find out where to find this film, where to stream it, where to get the Blu-rays, the 4K, all that sort of thing. And folks, I really do hope you check it out, because it's well worth your time. This is a great film. And, you know, if anything's to go by when it comes to how these films should be given, you know, this is the best. Well, thank you. That's everything from us here. Of course, this episode number 303, season 9 of Lethal Mullet Podcast on FBN. And obviously the train is already here at the station. So we'll be heading out. And folks, I hope you enjoyed this show, and stay with us for, of course, episode number 304 in a couple of weeks' time. And that will be a huge look at, of course, more and more. Until then, I hope you enjoy your weekend. I hope you enjoy everything that's happening out there in the world. And we'll catch you next time here on FPN's The Lethal Mullet Podcast. Bye for now.